inside and saw that the wasps were making a giant pizza. A roast pizza, of course. The doors burst open in a flash of bright light and flying pizza parts. When the dust settled, all of the wasps were gone, and there was just a lone European paper wasp, hovering there, who conveyed that this is all a setup for my birthday, since I like wasps. Such a nice wasp he was. That's an excerpt from my new book, DCJ Dreams, a collection of 250 dreams from 2002 to 2011, on sale now on Blurb in hardcover, paperback, and PDF. So today what we're going to take a look at is a new frame that I picked up. I got it during the Black Friday madness. It's something that I've been wanting for a while, but just sort of waiting for the right time. This is the Triggerman, and it looks very familiar because some people have said it's sort of like the poor man's Batman. And I guess I would sort of agree. It does have a lot of styling from the Batman. Just from the general shape and also like sort of the faux trigger stems. So as you see, they do have a lot in common. But obviously the Batman is aluminum with O-matter and the Triggerman is just all O-matter. So, when we first saw sketches of these a while back, we thought they might have just been like the third entry in the X-Metal line, or the new X-Metal line. Then as we started seeing stock photos, we noticed some of the bottom ones had different accents. We thought maybe it was like a Two-Face, where the bottom was aluminum, the top was O-matter. And then when they finally came out and they started hitting stores, they basically turned out to just be all O-matter, which is fine. I had a lot of people saying that they felt like they were just very cheap. Some people were saying they almost felt like Chinese knockoffs, but I don't think that's the case. I think when I first picked them up, instead of thinking cheap, I just felt really light. These things are incredibly light. They really don't have a whole lot of weight to them, which makes them very comfortable. I've turned this almost into my daily pair. I keep it in the car, just so I always have something on me. And basically I've been wearing this non-stop since I got it a few weeks ago, and it's been really comfortable, fits really well, and I'm really happy with it. So it comes in a few different colorways, most of the normal ones, but for the holiday season 2015, they came out with 3 pairs that all had matte clear with the new Torch Iridium lens. So there was the latch, there was the catalyst, and then there was the Triggerman. Now, Torch Iridium is sort of new. It's definitely new this year, but we did see this on the baseball prism lenses, both the infield and the outfield. Now, obviously, the infield and outfield are going to have different prism bases, but the Iridium wasn't the normal positive red that we're used to. It was actually the new Torch Iridium, and then now that we have an actual Torch Iridium, it has sort of a very light gray base. I would not say this is the same base as Ruby or even Positive Red. I feel like it's a lot lighter. For one, if you're in the sun and you put this on, you can see your eyes. It's not the very harsh Iridium or the very dark lens that you used to with those other 2 frames. But also, I bought these right around the time sun was setting, around like 4 o'clock or so, and I wore them on the whole ride home, and even though it was kind of dusk and getting dark, I was still able to see pretty well. If I had a dark lens like Black Iridium, that wouldn't have been possible. So I don't know the exact specs for this lens, but it definitely is not in like the 9 to 10% range. I'd be guessing it's probably almost higher to maybe like the 15, maybe almost upward to the 20% range, but that's just a guess on my part. So looking at the stem, it has sort of the faux hammer, which is similar to the Batman, but actually has a lot more in common with like the old Racing Jacket, the Moon, and the original Minute back in '98. So that jet intake port kind of adds a nice accent there, goes all the way through the frame. The one thing I don't like is that the hinge has a pin, and I know sometimes that's sort of standard for the active wear, definitely for the lifestyle, and then the sport ones really shouldn't have the pin, because one of the things I really like about Oakley is the breakaway stem, where if this somehow gets twisted and pops off, you can just pop it right back on, not an issue. With a pin, if this comes off, it's going to cause damage to the hinge and basically make it unusable. There's probably reasons for the pin, maybe just because it's so thin there, it's not possible to have a breakaway, but I would have preferred if it had been not a pin hinge, just because I see that sort of as a point of failure. Plus in the clear frame you can pretty much see the pin, and that's sort of distracting too. So being part of the active collection, it's going to have the ear socks and the unobtainium, just like the Canteen did. And actually, with the Canteen being almost my daily wear, I'm really liking the active line lately. Typically I stay away from lifestyle, so I almost had to jump into like sport frames all the time. But the activewear has provided sort of a nice middle ground where it's not a pure lifestyle piece, but it's not like this aggressive, professional, pro piece, so it's something that you can actually wear more on a daily basis. Alright, so price point of this one is $160. Some of them obviously go down if you don't have an Iridium, and then Prism and Polarized will be a little bit more than that. But I think that's a fair price point. I would have liked $130, but this isn't 2004 anymore, so you know, you kind of have to accept the new price points. I'm just glad it wasn't like the $190, $200 level that a lot of things are pushing towards now. Like the new wires, the toothpaste, things like that. Those all tend to be really priced in that almost 200 range. So I'm glad to have something in the mid 100s that's a little bit more affordable. Anytime you have one of those scratch and reveals or friends and family, you can get that price down even more. So that's always a good thing. So there were a lot of complaints when this came out, but I don't really see that they're founded. I think it's a very comfortable pair. I love it. I've been wearing it every day. The Torch Iridium lens is awesome. The nice thing about that is, especially on the flatter red lens, is it's almost pure red. And if you're around for like 2004, 2005, back when everyone was going on about the Ruby Juliets and the Ruby Quartz and how some lenses were orange and red, if this lens had come out that point, everyone would have just not talked about it, because this is exactly the lens that people wanted back 10 years ago when everyone wanted that pure Ruby Quartz comic style red lens. So that's just real quickie. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check these out. There's also a couple other new models out now, like the Latch and the Catalyst, which are more for the lifestyle frame. So if you like those, definitely check those out too. But I think the Triggerman's definitely a solid hit, and I highly recommend it. Thank you.